What's up? Everybody in the house, in the hizzy. What's going dizzy? Alright, it is 1/31, 2013. I think, are there 31 days in this month? I don't even know. If it's not, then it's 2/1/2013. I don't have my phone on me right now to figure that out. Alright, we are officially done with section 3. You should have pages 26, 30, and 32 completed. You should also have the quiz taken on page 33. Those are the pages that I'm going to check at the end of the period. So make sure you have all those done. Also make sure you have the crossword completed on page 41. That will be your chapter 16, section 3 grade. So let's go ahead and move on to section 4. You'll notice I have a PowerPoint here that's going to help us out. Also, grab a book and turn to page 542. So make sure you pause and get that stuff taken care of. This video is going to be very quick because remember I can't make them longer than 15 minutes without YouTube not allowing the video. So anytime I'm going too quick, just pause and get that stuff taken care of. You already have the date, no current event, but you do have a learning target. Describe the term armistice, A-R-M-I-S-T-I-C-E. No gang signs here. Alright, here we go. On page 35. The big idea. It's up in the top left-hand corner of the book. It says, after the defeat of the Germans, peace settlements brought political and territorial changes to Europe and created bitterness and resentment in some nations. Get that written down. Move on to the main idea. The new German Republic and the Allies signed an armistice, learning target, you should know what that means now, ending the war on November 11th, 1918. Again, who were the Allied powers? You have Italy, going to play a small part. United States plays a huge part. You have France and Great Britain. Remember, Russia is having a civil war, a revolution there, so they are busy taking care of their own problems. Who were the Central Powers? You have Bulgaria, the Ottoman Empire, Austria-Hungary, and Germany. Most of those countries will no longer even exist at the end of the war. The year 1917 had not been a good one for the Allies. Again, we are on page 542. Feel free to follow along in your book or the PowerPoint. The cause of the Central Powers is going to look very favorable. So Germany, Austria-Hungary, Ottoman Empire, it looks good for them. They're thinking, wow, we're going to be successful, we're going to win. On the positive side, the entry of the, you know it, United States into the war is going to give the Allies a much-needed psychological boost. For Germany, the withdrawal of the Russians offered new hope for a successful end to the war. And what's going on in Russia that would cause them to have that happen? Well, remember, they're going through their revolution, their own civil war. Who at the time is guiding German military operations? That is Erich Ludendorff. He is going to actually make one final military gamble. He's going to put all the strength and effort of this military gamble into this last battle, which will prove to be unsuccessful. That attack was at the Second Battle of the Marne, and they were going to make it all the way within 50 miles of Paris. That was extremely close. However, there were 140,000 fresh American troops that just arrived, and supported by hundreds of tanks, the Germans had to back up over the Marne. Eventually, Ludendorff, the German leader at the time, is going to say that it's over. He's going to say that basically the gamble had failed. A million more American troops poured into France, and the Allies began an advance toward Germany. And this is when General Ludendorff told other German leaders that the war was lost. He demanded the government ask for peace at once. So what did General Ludendorff tell German leaders on September 29th, 1918? That the war was over. You have geography skills there. Compare the maps. Identify 3 countries or empires that lost the most territory after World War I. So you'll see one that's in 1914 and one that's in 1922. Make sure that you answer both those questions on page 35. Remember, I know I'm going quickly. Just make sure you pause so that you can keep up. All right, German officials soon found that the Allies were unwilling to make peace with Germany. They didn't want to have any. They just didn't want peace. They wanted reparations made. They wanted someone to blame, someone to pay the price. Germany is really unhappy with Emperor William II, and basically workers in a German town of Kiel are going to mutiny and kind of go against the German leaders there. So that's what happened in the town of Kiel. You have sailors that are going to mutiny the German leaders. What is a mutiny? If you don't know it, look it up. Frederick Ebert, he is going to be the one that is going to take the role or the lead of Germany after Emperor William II leaves, and he is going to create a democratic republic. And then 2 days later, with Frederick Ebert and the German government, they are going to sign the armistice. Learning target, bing, bing. What is an armistice? It is a truce, an agreement to end the fighting. They were done fighting. The war was over, but the revolutionary forces were not. By the time World War I ended, the Austro-Hungarian Empire had ceased to exist. The empire had been replaced by the independent republics of, if you look on page 544, go on down to the bottom paragraph on the left-hand side, Austria, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, and Yugoslavia. So pre-World War I, you had an Austria-Hungary. After World War I, it's going to be now Austria, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, and Yugoslavia. Reading check. What happened within Germany after the armistice? Basically, people were upset. Emperor William II has to leave. Frederick Ebert becomes the leader, and a democratic republic begins, and the armistice is signed. The peace settlements. What is the main idea there? Very important to understand this. The Treaty of Versailles punished Germany, established new nations, and created a League of Nations to solve international problems. In January 1919, representatives of 27 victorious Allied nations met in Paris to make a final settlement of World War I. Woodrow Wilson, the President of the United States at the time, is going to become the spokesperson for a new world order based on, let's get on past all this, based on democracy and international cooperation. Here are the big three, they called it. At the time, you have David Lloyd George, you have George Clemenceau, and President Woodrow Wilson. These are the big three at the Paris Peace Conference. So, that brings us to the question, why were there complications at the Paris Peace Conference? Well, David Lloyd George, who is the Prime Minister of Great Britain, had his own agenda. George Clemenceau, who was the leader or premier of France, is going to have his own agenda. Remember, France was right next door to Germany. They're going to experience a lot of devastation, destruction, and death. He has his own agenda, so that's why there's a complication there. And of course, President Woodrow Wilson was only in the war for a year and didn't really experience as many deaths, and the war was not on his home front. So he has his own agenda, and that's why there's complications. David Lloyd George, we talked about. Oops, So we're on page 37. We talked about George Clemenceau. That brings us to reparation. Clemenceau is going to want reparations. These are payments to cover the cost of war. Was Germany invited to the conference? Absolutely not. Do you think it was reasonable for Wilson to expect the European nations to share his views and approach to peace? Probably not, because again, I explained, the war wasn't at his home. He wasn't involved that long. Not as many deaths, so explain that. The Treaty of Versailles. I think we are going to stop there, and we are going to talk about all this at another time, because tomorrow we're really going to focus on the Treaty of Versailles, which is the catalyst for World War II. The Treaty of Versailles is going to blame Germany for beginning the war, for being responsible. They're not going to be happy with it, which leads to you-know-who, Adolf Hitler. Peace.